Good evening. Tonight we bring you breaking news from Eastern Europe, where the conflict between Russia and Ukraine has taken a dramatic and deadly turn. In the early hours, Russia launched one of its largest missile and drone barrages yet against Ukraine, targeting major cities including Kyiv and Odesa. The skies over Ukraine were lit up by explosions as dozens of missiles and drones rained down, leaving destruction in their wake and sending shockwaves through the country. Air defense systems in Kyiv worked tirelessly throughout the night, intercepting many incoming threats. Residents huddled in bomb shelters, listening to the distant thunder of explosions and the whine of sirens, uncertain if their homes would be spared. The city's night sky was repeatedly illuminated by the flash of anti-aircraft fire and missile impacts. In Odesa, tragedy struck when a maternity hospital was hit by a missile, killing at least 2 people, including a medical worker. The attack has drawn swift and widespread condemnation from the international community, with many calling it a blatant violation of humanitarian norms and a shocking escalation in the ongoing war. The scale and intensity of this assault mark a significant escalation, as civilian neighborhoods and infrastructure far from the front lines were deliberately targeted. Families awoke to shattered windows, collapsed buildings, and the grim reality of war reaching deeper into their daily lives. This latest attack comes in the wake of recent Ukrainian drone strikes inside Russian territory, which have damaged infrastructure and heightened tensions. The ongoing cycle of retaliation between the two countries shows no sign of slowing, raising fears of further escalation and broader regional instability. In response, world leaders have strongly condemned the Russian strikes, calling for increased military and humanitarian support for Ukraine. There are renewed calls for tougher sanctions on Russia, as international pressure mounts to bring an end to the violence and protect innocent civilians. As dawn breaks over a battered Ukrainian landscape, the people of Ukraine face yet another day filled with uncertainty, loss, and resilience. The world watches closely, hoping for peace, but bracing for what may come next in this relentless conflict. Turning to global headlines, US-China trade talks in London enter a tense second day, with markets watching closely. The Israeli military strikes Yemen's Hodeidah port, escalating conflict with Houthi rebels. Greta Thunberg and others from a seized Gaza-bound aid ship face deportation from Israel. In the US, a Chinese PhD student is arrested for allegedly smuggling sensitive materials. BTS members RM and V complete military service in South Korea, while a doctor's strike continues. Apple unveils major AI upgrades, and New Zealand Rugby launches a global fantasy game. In Asia, the latest round of US-China trade talks has zeroed in on the critical issues of rare earth minerals and the tightening of technology export controls. These resources are vital for everything from smartphones to advanced military equipment, making the negotiations especially high stakes for both countries and the global economy. Despite the urgency, there is still widespread skepticism among analysts and business leaders about whether a truly lasting deal can be reached, given the deep-rooted tensions and competing interests at play. Many observers point to the lack of trust and the history of failed agreements as major obstacles, leaving markets on edge and companies uncertain about the future. Meanwhile, a new intelligence report reveals that advanced Chinese missile technology has given Pakistan a significant edge in its recent border clash with India. This development has raised concerns in New Delhi and among international security experts, who warn that the balance of power in the region may be shifting. The report underscores Beijing's growing influence across Asia, as China continues to expand its diplomatic, economic, and military reach, reshaping alliances and rivalries throughout the region. In another development, tensions are rising between India and the United States after the detention of an Indian student at a U.S. airport. The incident has sparked a diplomatic protest from New Delhi, with officials demanding answers and assurances for Indian nationals traveling abroad. Turning to the Middle East, Israel's recent missile strike on Yemen's Hodeidah port marks a significant escalation, expanding the ongoing conflict and threatening to disrupt vital shipping lanes in the region. At the same time, deadly violence continues to grip Gaza, with civilians caught in the crossfire and humanitarian conditions worsening by the day. International attention has also turned to climate activist Greta Thunberg, who was deported from Israel after participating in a Gaza aid mission. Her removal has sparked protests and renewed calls for humanitarian access to the besieged territory. Meanwhile, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert is urging the United States to increase diplomatic pressure on Prime Minister Netanyahu, calling for an immediate end to the war and a renewed push for peace in the region. Europe is grappling with fresh economic headwinds as the European Central Bank's recent interest rate cut has not delivered the hoped-for boost to growth. Investors and policymakers alike are watching closely, concerned that the region's recovery may be slower and more fragile than anticipated. The financial sector is feeling the strain, and questions are mounting about what further steps might be needed to stabilize the economy. In the United Kingdom, retail sales have slowed noticeably, reflecting cautious consumer spending amid ongoing uncertainty. Meanwhile, a high-profile legal case has brought the issue of religious discrimination in the workplace into the national spotlight, sparking debate about equality and workers' rights in modern Britain. Turning to Africa, Kenyan authorities have taken decisive action by shutting down illegal gold mining operations that have been polluting the Turkwell River. This move is part of a broader effort to protect vital water sources and preserve the environment for local communities who depend on these resources for their livelihoods. In South Africa, the Supreme Court has upheld permits for thousands of Zimbabwean nationals, preventing what could have been mass deportations. This decision is seen as a significant step in safeguarding the rights of migrants and maintaining social stability during a period of heightened tension. These developments underscore the region's ongoing struggles with economic uncertainty, the fight for legal rights, and the urgent need for environmental protection. Across both continents, societies are being challenged to adapt and respond to rapidly changing circumstances. Policymakers throughout Europe and Africa now face mounting pressure to find a delicate balance between promoting economic growth, ensuring justice and equality, and advancing sustainability. Their decisions in the coming months will shape the future for millions. As challenges intensify, the resolve and leadership of these governments will be put to the test, with the world watching closely to see how they respond. In Bolivia, ex-President Evo Morales faces a terrorism probe, fueling unrest amid economic crisis. Chilean startup Lamu debuts satellite biodiversity images at a global summit, advancing conservation tech. New Zealand launches a parent boost visa to reunite families while requiring private health insurance for applicants. Australia's business confidence hits a 4-year low, but consumer optimism shows a slight uptick. Across the Americas and Oceania, political turmoil and innovation shape the landscape. From conflict to creativity, the world keeps moving. Join us tomorrow for more global updates.